store near you.
For more information about contests on this station, go to 953wdae.com/rules. This hour brought to you by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
You freaking people are listening to The Drive with TKras on WDAE.
3:35 on your ride home on this Let It Ride Thursday. We're off to a roaring start. It is The Drive with yours truly, Chris Mathis on the other side. You there? My thanks to John Gruden. Always entertaining to catch up with John, dude. He is a trip. He said a lot of interesting things there. And you can react as well at 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Great to have you with us. We're on the air until 7 o'clock. Let it ride.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you, John. We loved it too. And I was just telling Nick Wise, Nick and I are headed to the Super Bowl. So our flight is first thing Monday, and John just told us he's leaving Monday. There's a good chance that John is going to be on our flight.
Yeah, I'll be your tour guide.
Yeah, I'll be your tour guide. John knows the Bay Area well, the other Bay Area. So we could very well meet up with him. Now, we ran into John on the flight home last year from New Orleans. So Nick and I were on the plane with him, and I remember when the plane landed, like Nick was talking to John, like when we were in New Orleans before we took off. I didn't say anything to John because there were a lot of people, like, yapping at him, bending his ear. But when we landed here at Tampa and we're at baggage claim, that's when I went up to him. I'm like, I got to go up to him. And I introduced myself. And then he knew exactly why. Well, hey, Tom, how you doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I told him, we were trying to get him on the show. And then he's like, he goes, let's set something up, Nick Wise just jumping in here. So you were harassing John, I thought, last year in New Orleans before we flew out.
No, he was harassing me. So he flew Southwest, and we were A6 and A7, and John comes up to us and he starts to walk over and he goes, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, what number are you?" And I go, A6, and he goes, "That's right, I'm A5. Don't let me catch you in front of me, man."
Don't let me catch you in front of you, man.
And that was the meeting. And then if you remember how we talked to him first, I just went, "Hey, John."
Yeah.
And then you were supposed to turn around so he'd recognize you, and then you didn't. So I just looked like this idiot that said, "Hey, John."
Yeah.
Yelled at him across the airport. And then we got with him at the baggage, and that's how we got him on the show all the time.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
It did. And, he's going to be there next week, and I bet you he's on our flight.
I would think so, because he's got to probably get out there early for Monday and all of the stuff. I'd imagine he will be.
He's an early riser, as we all know. Plus, I don't know, there aren't too many flights from Tampa to San Francisco, I don't think, on Monday.
No.
But
And we got a ton of bags, so maybe he can help us carry a couple.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think
you could use some help.
I think we're running on empty on that. But, yes, we will be out there next week. We got a whole bunch of guests. John's going to be out there as well. Maybe we'll get with John at some point.
Cigars with Gruden, that'd be cool.
Cigars with Gruden would be great.
That'd be a good story.
Yeah. All right. There you have it.
Have a good show.
Thank you.
TKras, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah, thank you, John.
No negativity.
No negativity.
All right, all positive.
No,
It's a no negative Thursday.
No negative Thursday.
Everything's great with the Bucs. Rays are winning the World Series. Lightning are phenomenal.
Everything's great. John said he's going to be at the outdoor game on Sunday. He'll be freezing his keister off along with the rest of us with temperatures in the 40s for the Lightning and the Bruins on Sunday evening at 6:30. This is going to be a wild weekend here in the Bay Area. Freezing cold temperatures, chance of snow on Saturday. Yes. Now the meteorologists are saying what was a small chance like 2 days ago, probably like 50-50 now. With this nor'easter pulling down that Arctic cold air, maybe some moisture coming in off the Gulf effect flurries. So if you're living like near the coastal areas, you might see a few snowflakes at some point. Maybe Saturday night into Sunday morning. That would be epic. It's not going to snow a whole bunch, but we get a snow flurry or two. I think that would be kind of cool. Then you got Gasparilla on Saturday, if that's your thing. Then, of course, the outdoor game on Sunday, and then right into Super Bowl week. So, very busy week here in the Tampa Bay area. Lightning do play tonight. They got Winnipeg at home tonight. I saw that Victor Hedman was out there skating, practicing with the team. So, that's a great sign coming off that elbow injury. And then, of course, Lightning and the Bruins, Sunday, 6:30, the outdoor game. And this could not have worked out better for the Bolts. It's going to be cold. And I know they have this, temperature-controlled, tent trying to preserve the ice and cover the ice. Probably not going to need that tent after tomorrow. They have to just throw it aside. But temperatures will be in the 40s. It's just a perfect scenario for the game on Sunday. We'll be freezing our butts off. Our guy, Ryan Pepio, he's going to be there with a couple of Rays players. John Gruden's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there on Sunday for the outdoor game. It's going to be awesome. All right, so the Buccaneers have made some additions to their coaching staff. Zach Robinson, who was on this show on Tuesday, is filling out his staff. And to no surprise, TJ Yates and Ken Zampese, two guys that were with him in Atlanta, are following him here to Tampa Bay. Buccaneers also hiring Andrew Mitchell, according to reports, along with defensive line coach Marcus West. So Andrew Mitchell is a former Oklahoma State teammate of Zach Robinson, and he's going to be the assistant O-line coach. Of course, Brian Picucci left. He went to join Liam Cohen up in Jacksonville, so best of luck to him. So the Buccaneers have filled that position on the coaching staff with Andrew Mitchell, a guy that Zach Robinson knows pretty well. TJ Yates is going to be sort of the passing game guy here with the Buccaneers now after serving on that same role. Ken Zampese has been in the NFL for a long, long time. And Marcus West was the Bills' defensive line coach the past 2 seasons, so he is now here with the Buccaneers. So there you have it. By the way, remember Josh Grizzard? Fired as the OC here by the Buccaneers. According to reports, he's got a second interview. He's interviewing out in Philadelphia with the Eagles for their offensive coordinator position. So Josh Grizzard interviewing with the Eagles. Boy, there are 2 jobs that it appears that nobody really wants at this point. That's the Eagles' OC job and the Ravens head coaching job, which just got filled by Todd Monken, the former Bucs offensive coordinator, who interviewed for the offensive coordinator job here a couple of weeks ago. And the Browns have settled on him as the head coach. And there are all sorts of zany rumors that out there that there might be 2 co-head coaches or something. That's a Browns type of thing if that really happens with Jim Schwartz and Todd Monken. Are you kidding me? This is what bad organizations do. Jimmy Haslam, Browns, bad. Woody Johnson, Jets, really bad. Maybe none worse than him. And you heard me ask John about the Jets rumor that was out there, and he didn't have too many pleasant things to say about the reports that were out there, and you call them ridiculous and this and that. And listen, I don't blame John. And maybe they did call him. And John was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want to work for you, Woody Johnson, and the dumpster fire that you have going on up there with a young coach in Aaron Glenn who appears to be in way over his head at this point. Your calls and texts are coming up. Also, up next, what about the futures of Levante David and Mike Evans? There might be a little more clarity on that. We'll talk about that coming up next year on The Drive. Hang on.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, whether it's an injury, accident, product liability, or medical malpractice, if you or someone you love happens to be the victim of an injury accident, you got to do what I did. Call Catania & Catania, the personal injury law firm that's been doing their thing for the last 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid. About $1 billion has been recovered by my guys for injury victims like you and me. They were with me every step of the way. They said, look, you get better. We'll handle the legal side of it. And they did. We achieved the best possible outcome. In my case, they'll do the same for you. So get a free evaluation of your case now at 813-222-8545 or hit them up online, CataniaandCatania.com, where they put families first. Office Tampa, 930 spokesman.
The home of the best Bucs coverage. 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
WDAE traffic update.
From the Moss Nissan Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders.
Slowdowns on US 19. It's that time of day anyway, but I'm seeing some flashing lights on 19 northbound after East Bay Drive around Whitney Road. Can't see it the best, but I'm thinking it's at least a right lane, at least right shoulder block, causing some extra slowdowns. Minor crash on Myrtle Avenue at Druid Road. Big Bridge is still looking good. 275 northbound over the Howard Franklin Bridge. Yeah, it's a little bit heavy like normal around the airport. Get traffic info around the clock by searching News Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Pat Largo.
Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today. 813-212-0300. That's 813-212-0300.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text AREA to 42424 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 42424. That's AREA to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Is mind control real? Can you hypnotically persuade someone to buy a car, to sleep with you? What about using it to create a better you? In our new podcast, Mind Games, we're going to find out.
What's something you always dreamed of doing, fantasized about doing, but haven't let yourself dare?
The premise is your mind is a computer, and you just never got the manual. But once you crack the code, anything's possible. For better and for worse. Open your free iHeartRadio app, Search Mind Games and listen now.
Ronnie Lane here for the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network. Did you know that every day 44 people in the U.S. die from a drug overdose? The majority of overdose deaths involve opioid use. Under Florida's Good Samaritan Act, you cannot be prosecuted for calling 911 to get help for someone who has overdosed. This is especially critical in emergencies where every second counts. Recovery is possible. Visit cfbhn.org for more info. CFBHN is a managing entity contracted with the Department of Children and Families.
Get your most accurate home value estimate at DuncanDuo.com.
This report is sponsored by Audible.
Sunny skies this afternoon, high 67 degrees. Partly cloudy and cold tonight, low 43. Friday forecast, partly sunny, high 71, low 53. Get news, traffic, and weather around the clock when you set News Radio WFLA as a preset on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Amy Snyder.
It's time to take care of you. Who better to help you than the top voices in well-being on Audible? Kickstart your well-being journey with your first audiobook free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com/wellbeing.
Make WDAE a preset on iHeartRadio. No searching, no scrolling. Tampa Bay Sports Radio.
Yeah, if Bowles wasn't coming back, it was no shot, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's a fact. Just me and Bowles just had that relationship. That's my guy, man. I've got extremely comfortable with him, comfortable with his defense. And just our relationship is just, just like that from a player-coach relationship. That's something that I always wanted. The past, 7 years I've been working with him. It's been really, really, fun and a joy just to understand his football knowledge. And for me, being in year 14 and still learning things.
That is Levante David. He was on with Kay Adams up in Adams today, and he was talking about his relationship with one Todd Bowles. And look, I guess the door is maybe slightly open for Levante maybe to come back. It sounds like the Bucs want him back. He has a very close relationship with Todd. I think Todd Bowles would want to have him back. So it seems like it is up to Levante as to whether or not he wants to return to your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome back, 352 on your ride home. Great to have you with us on what is a very busy Let It Ride Thursday. John Gruden joined us earlier in the show. You're going to hear more about what he had to say coming up just after 4 o'clock. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. So a lot of things happening there. So that appears to be the update. You just heard from Levante David about what he might be thinking about moving forward. I still think it's more likely than not that he retires. He just turned 36, and his daughter doesn't want him to play. He mentioned that as well, so we'll find out if that ends up being a thing. Now, there is another report out there, and I don't know if I put too much into this report, but this is one that is going to probably tick off a lot of Buccaneers fans. And it actually comes from a guy who's quite reputable, and he's covered the NFL for quite a long time. Tony Pauline is a guy who's done a lot of draft stuff, but he's got some connected sources within the NFL. He put out a report today that it's less than 50-50 that Mike Evans returns to play for the Buccaneers in 2026. And here is the report that Tony Pauline put out. Quote, on the other end is Mike Evans, a 12-year veteran who has spent his entire career with the Buccaneers. At 31 years of age, Evans has struggled with an injury in the last 2 years and has played in just 8 games last year, catching 30 passes. Those who I've spoken to over the past week believe it's less than 50-50 that the veteran wideout re-signs with Tampa and that his career with the Buccaneers is likely finished. He would like to go to a contender and win another title. Wow. I don't believe the last line, okay? I think Mike loves Tampa Bay. And, with all due respect to Tony, I don't know if I put too much credence into this report. I don't think Mike has decided anything yet, to be quite honest. I don't know that for a fact. But Mike is not one to make a rash decision. And I don't think Mike would be the guy who would turn to confidants and family and friends and say, well, you know what, I had it. I don't think he's basically, what Tony Pauline is saying is Mike doesn't want to play with Baker Mayfield. The last line will tell you all you need to know about that report, quote, unquote. He would like to go to a contender and win another title. Unless the Buccaneers tell him we don't want you anymore, we don't have any room under the cap, and I find it very hard to believe that that would be the case, then maybe there is something to this. But I'm not putting a whole lot of validity to this story. Mike loves Tampa, and this is part of John Gruden and the No Negative Thursday, and I promised him for at least one segment I would be, very positive. I'm going to be positive on this one. I don't think Mike would leave Tampa. It would take a lot for Mike to walk away from Tampa Bay. A lot. And I don't think he's prepared to do that, and I don't think he has made up his mind one way or another. And you heard Zach Robinson. I asked him the other day when I had him on the show, hey, what about Mike? Hey, I would love to coach Mike. He said Mike is working through some things right now. And I think I kind of believe that. And I think working through some things, meaning he's trying to figure out, do I want to play again? I think he does. Baker Mayfield mentioned with Rondé Barber on his show that that is probably the case, that Mike wouldn't want to go out the way last year kind of played itself out with the hamstring problems. And then the game at Detroit where he broke his collarbone and he had the concussion the same time. And, unfortunate, the game at Carolina where he and Baker were not on the same page and it led to an interception. I'm sure some people probably look at that and say, well, that's why maybe Mike would want to leave. I'm not believing this. I'm not believing the story. And Tony Pauline's been around for quite a long time, but this is a story that I'm not going to put a whole lot of credence into just yet. I don't think Mike's made up his mind. I don't think Mike is saying, well, to hell with the Buccaneers because I think I could go to Kansas City or Buffalo or whatever. Insert contender here. Or go back to Houston where, he grew up, his hometown area, Houston, Galveston area. I don't think Mike has made up his mind yet. I think Mike's going to take his time. He's a family man. He's kind of trying to assess the changes that have been made. With Zach Robinson now being the new play caller, I think the Buccaneers have gotten better with the coaching staff. I know Todd Bowles still kind of doing his thing on the defensive side, but you upgrade with the special teams coach, and I think you upgraded with the offensive coordinator. So that's positive. So there you have it, John. If you're listening, positive segment. Positive on a Thursday. There was no negativity there. It was great to hear from Levante David, and he's going to make up his mind and make the decision that's best for him. I want Levante to be happy. I'm a big fan of Levante's. He's a big fan of our show, too. I want Levante to do what Levante wants to do. That's positive. Leave it up to him.
It's a no negative Thursday.
Thank you, John. And we were not negative, and I don't believe necessarily this report about Mike being less than 50-50. I mean, you kind of cover yourself by saying less than 50-50. Well, it's not definite. I mean, he could go back to the Buccaneers if it's less than 50-50. And the fact that he would want to go to a contender and win another title. I know Mike was upset after the Thursday night game. 3rd and 28, he's yelling. Going back to the locker room, Chris Mathis, you were there.
Oh, yeah, I witnessed him yelling. I mean, it stood out. I mean, you could see his frustration as he trotted off the field. And that's the thing, Tom. I see where you're coming from and maybe not necessarily crediting this story, but maybe he's contemplating what this defense is, what Todd Bowles is with this defense. Maybe he's looking at it in that sense as well.
Yes. I think he's looking at this team. Is this team going to be a contender? Well, the defense has to get a lot better. And that goes back to my point, and I brought this up with John, a guy that John coached, Max Crosby. And I said right at the end of the season, Bucs have to go get this guy. If you're Jason Light, you got to do what it takes. You have to. At pick number 15, you take, Joe Blow out of, Western Oklahoma State. Who the hell cares? He's not a proven commodity. He's just some guy, just some name. I would send the 15th pick and other considerations to the Raiders if they're open to it, and I want a proven guy with balls big enough to come in a dump truck who's going to make Vita Vea better, Kalijah Kancey better, Yaya Diaby better. Max Crosby is the ticket, period. All right, 1 hour down, 3 more hours to go. We're off to a great start. 888-546-4620. Maybe at some point we can win Show of the Year at some point. All right, coming up, the next keyword to win $1,000 is coming up in a matter of moments. Stand by. You're going to hear the nationwide keyword. When you hear it, you go online, 953WDA.com. You insert the keyword there. You can't win if you don't play. You can win $1,000 in a matter of moments, so stand by on that. Also, 1 week comeback. John Gruden. He was on with us to kick off the show, and he had some interesting things to say, including a move the Buccaneers have to make, plus his thoughts on what's going on with Bill Belichick and a whole lot more. And John addresses the rumor regarding the New York Jets. That is next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, it is The Drive, and it is presented by Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. I bought my last 3 vehicles there. Chris Mathis just bought his first vehicle from Moss Nissan, and he's a satisfied customer as well. And right now, they've got 0% financing for 60 months on select new Nissans like the 2025 and 2026 Murano, the 2026 Rogue, and the 2025 Pathfinder 2.
Also, I just bragged on the Sentra, the vehicle I have right now. Lease a 2026 Altima SV or the brand new Kicks, $299 a month for 36 months.
It's awesome. And plus, with every vehicle purchase, you'll get Moss Care. Lifetime oil changes, tire rotations for as long as you own the vehicle. Check them out. 3 locations, Tampa, Newport Richie, or Brooksville, or online at mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes.
The Drive with TKras returns in minutes.
If you've been in a big truck accident, you need a lawyer that specializes in big trucks. A lawyer who knows all the federal traffic rules that can affect your case.
And who can navigate the complex web of laws dealing with the trucking company, the leasing company, the shipper, and all the other details that can complicate your case.
At Farah & Farah, we've seen it all, and we're ready to go the long haul to fight for you. Tampa.
Hey, Mom. It's me. Oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I just opened for Valentine's Day. A sapphire ring from Helzberg. Just like the one I lost years ago. Remember how excited I was when you gave it to me? I cannot believe you remembered that story. I guess you were right. I really found the one.
This Valentine's Day, create a moment that means something with up to 40% off gifts at Helzberg. Shop in store or at helzberg.com.
Rivard Buick GMC, the #2 GMC dealer in the country, would like to thank you, our valued customers, for making 2025 an incredible year. Determined to make this year even better, we're out to show our appreciation. We're coming out strong with massive discounts. Check this out. Up to $17,000 off a new Sierra 1500 and rates as low as 0%. Leave that old truck of yours behind. Start the year off right with the truck you've been dreaming of. RivardBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
If you care about predictions, you care about props. And for the upcoming big game, nobody does props like BetOnline. For years, BetOnline has been providing big game markets, sharp odds, and player props built for fans who see the game before it happens. From the opening kickoff to the final whistle, BetOnline delivers live in-game action, instant updates, and in-game props. Prediction markets follow the conversation. BetOnline defines it. BetOnline, the game starts here.
New deals, new wheels. AutoNation's New Year, New Wheels event is going on now. Drive any new or used vehicle 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. Save thousands on Toyotas, Fords, Hondas, Chevys, Mercedes-Benz, and more. 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry to your nearest AutoNation store today or AutoNation.com.
On select models with approved credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase on deferred payments. See store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Now that a new year is here, start 2026 by showing your gratitude. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose, celebrating the incredible impact of public school educators. Nominate an outstanding teacher in your life who's gone above and beyond for their students to be among the winners of $5,000 to stock their classroom. Teachers give their time, money, and hearts to help students succeed. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Get all the info and nominate a teacher who goes the extra mile today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Start the year off stress-free and sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer. You'll save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle. Hey, it's Aaron Jacobson, and go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Win $1,000 right now by entering the nationwide keyword BANK at 953WDAE.com.
WDAE St. Petersburg, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, an iHeartRadio sports station. Guaranteed human.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anybody, you make a big play for Max. If you're the Raiders, you're one of the dumbest franchises in America if you let him out of there. He's under contract. He's the best player on the team. I think he's arguably the most impactful edge rusher in football, but absolutely, I think that's a winning edge that a great defense has.
That's John Gruden, former Buccaneers Super Bowl winning coach, now with Barstool Sports, and he agrees with yours truly, and I'm sure a lot of you out there. The Buccaneers need to go get Max Crosby, a guy that John coached. So John knows him very well. He loves John, by the way, and John loves him too. I know that for a fact. Could Max Crosby be in the discussion for the Buccaneers this offseason potentially? One can only hope on this No Negative Thursday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 4:07 on your ride home. The Drive with yours truly, presented by Moss Nissan, live inside the Rude Air and Water Studios of WDAE. Chris Mathis on the other side. Of course, you there. Your calls and texts, 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Our thanks to John Gruden. He joined us to kick off the show. So he says, you know what? This is a guy that you want to go get. I thought it was kind of an interesting dig, too, at one of his former teams, the Raiders there. You got to be one of the stupidest teams out there. Let that guy out of your building, you know what I mean? Really interesting stuff from John.
It's a No Negative Thursday.
Yes, I know, John. And look, I was a negative in the last segment in regards to Mike Evans. And look, I was telling Chris Mathis this during the break. In regards to rumors and stories that you will see, the one with Mike Evans, I'm not buying at this point because I don't think Mike has made up his mind in terms of what he wants to do and where he wants to go. We know that he would love to stay here. He's a Buccaneer for life. So any thought that, you know what, I want to leave here and I want to go to a contender and win a title, I mean, I don't think I believe that. I don't think Mike Evans would want to do that and walk away from Tampa Bay. Now, it could be a way, and I don't know if there's been any dialogue between the Buccaneers and Mike Evans about his future. I'm sure there has. I'm sure the Buccaneers would like to have him back. But as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, there are layers to this conversation. The Bucs do have quite a bit vested into that wide receiver room. So if Mike decides to come back, he's not playing for free, right? He ain't playing for the veteran minimum. It's going to have to be a deal that would be worth it for him and worth his time and effort to come back for year number 13 to match his jersey number, for an opportunity maybe to win another title. And look, he might be thinking about it along these terms too. Like, I know offensively we're going to be good. I think he likes Baker. I think he respects Baker. I think Baker, same thing. You heard Baker on with Rondé Barber on his show. He had nothing but great things to say about Mike and the relationship that they have. And, hopefully Mike not wanting to go out the way he went out in 2025. I'm trying to train my brain like it's 2026. It's crazy. So I don't believe for 1 second that Mike is saying to himself, you know what, I've had it here. After 12 years, this team's going nowhere. I want to go to a contender for an opportunity to win a title. Come on. And Tony Pauline, and I respect Tony, and Tony's done a lot of good work, and he does a lot of good draft coverage as well over the years. And I don't doubt that he's talked to some people, and maybe there are some people that he's talked to, maybe in their opinion, that Mike would want to go somewhere. Without getting it from Mike, I don't think Mike's telling Tony Pauline or anybody close to his family is telling Tony Pauline anything. Crazy stuff. But I think Mike is going to sit back and watch what the Buccaneers do. And so far, I think they've gotten better from a coaching perspective with Zach Robinson and Danny Smith being hired on the coaching staff. I think they've gotten better. Now, what's going to happen on the defensive side, which is why I posed a question to John when he was on with us in the last hour about Max Crosby, a guy that John knows very well. He's coached Max Crosby. He loves him to death, and vice versa. Max Crosby loves John Gruden as well. And maybe, and this wouldn't be tampering because John is not on the Buccaneers payroll, and John loves Tampa Bay, as you heard him mention so passionately when he was on with me in the last hour. By the way, in case you missed it, I know there are a lot of people that have been asking through the text platform, through social media. I'm getting texts from people. We're going to run it back coming up at 5:05 when a lot of people are out of work or out of school and into their cars, primetime listening. 5:05, my interview with John Gruden. It was fantastic. We talked about the draft, Fernando Mendoza, the Bucs season overview, the constant change, the 10 head coaching jobs that became available, the Jets rumor, what he's looking for potentially in his next gig as a coach. He's a coach. He wants a coach. The Super Bowl, cigars, Walt Coleman, all of that. John Gruden coming up at 5:05. And, John, we'll be at the Super Bowl next week, and so will we. Myself and Nick Wise, we're going. John's going as well. Maybe we'll meet up with John at some point. We'll see. But we're going to be live from Radio Row beginning Monday through Thursday. And Nick will be doing a show from noon until 3 as well next week, live from Radio Row, the site of Super Bowl 60.
Yeah, I'll be your tour guide.
Yeah, so John mentioned, I've been out to San Francisco, you know what I mean? I'll be your tour guide because I've never been to San Francisco. So, Nick, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Nick Wise from noon until 3, and Monday through Thursday, I'll be there from 3 until 7 doing our thing on radio. We've got an incredible lineup of guests, guys. And once we have everything solidified, we're going to let you know who's going to be joining us next week from San Francisco on Radio Row. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. So you heard John on Max Crosby. He believes the Buccaneers should absolutely make a play there. So there was a rumor earlier this week, and it was put out there by Zach Rosenblatt, who covers the Jets for The Athletic, I believe. And he reported that the New York Jets reached out to John Gruden about a possible position on Aaron Glenn's coaching staff, presumably to be the offensive coordinator, to be in charge of the offense. So John joined us in the last hour. I asked John about that rumor, and here was his response.
Well, there's a lot of reports we're not going to get into. As you know, there's a lot of stupid rumors out there. Some of these reports are ridiculous. Let's just say that there was never anything from the Jets, and I wish them well in their search for a new offensive coordinator.
So there you have it. There was never anything from the Jets. So he's denying that there was any contact. Now, it wouldn't behoove John to necessarily say, yeah, the Jets called me, because there really is not a whole lot to gain, because we know the Jets are a terrible franchise and a desperate franchise at this point. Aaron Glenn has fired 9 of his assistants. 9! After 1 year. And they're calling around. They're desperate to find a guy. They don't have a quarterback. They've got a good young O-line. Garrett Wilson is good. Breece Hall is a pending free agent, but the owner's terrible, and there is no quarterback. So why would John go there? And why would John confirm that the Jets were in contact with him? So I don't think there's anything to be gained from him saying, yeah, the Jets called me. And I think John has got a specific checklist, and he does want to coach again, and he also reiterated that in our conversations coming up at 5:05. By the way, let a ride also on the 5 o'clock hour, 5:30. And at 6 o'clock, stand by, because our guy, Scott Reynolds of PewterReport.com, he's up at the Senior Bowl. The practices are taking place this week. There's a number of edge rushers up there that the Buccaneers are keeping close tabs on, and Scott Reynolds will fill you in coming up at 6 o'clock, and we'll talk to Scott about the Mike Evans rumors, about Levante David, what's going on there. So a lot of information coming out from the Senior Bowl up in Mobile, where the Buccaneers are obviously well represented. All 32 teams are there, and we'll pick Scott's brain about what's going on up there in Mobile, and we'll get the latest scoop on what the Buccaneers are thinking about as well. So that's basically what's going on there. 888-546-4620. We got a lot of texts coming in at 82945. Text out of the 941. Professor Kras, why would Mike play anywhere else when he did it at the highest level with TB12? I think Mike is trying to figure out what Mike wants to do. And I don't think that Mike has come to any conclusions. There's no way. I think Mike wants to play again. And I think Mike wants to play here again. That's just my opinion, speculation. I've not talked to Mike. But knowing who Mike is and what he's all about, how much he loves the Tampa Bay area, how much he loves the Buccaneers, he's built a solid foundation here. He's built a family here. He's raised a family here. He's got quite the legacy going here as the greatest offensive player in Buccaneer history. And I find it hard to believe that he would be telling other people, well, I think I want to leave here because I want to play for a contender. And that would be slighting Baker Mayfield. And I don't think Mike's doing that at all. I think Mike wants to come back. I think Mike right now is in wait-and-see mode. And by that meaning, I think Mike wants to see what the Buccaneers are going to be doing. What are the Buccaneers doing in terms of upgrading the defense? Because the offense, we think, have the pieces in place, and I think there could be an ancillary addition there. We talked about Zach Robinson, and I wasn't going to ask him directly about players who are still currently under contract with other teams, namely the 2 players that have been linked to the Buccaneers. I think people are just trying to connect the dots, talking about Kyle Pitts and Tyler Algier. I think Algier is much more realistic than Pitts. Kate Otten is a free agent, so the Buccaneers may have an opening at tight end. Although Devin Culp, I wouldn't mind seeing him getting more playing time. But is he a every down starting tight end in this league? I don't know. I've got questions about that. We think Kyle Pitts is. And at the age of 25, he made over $8 million this year. It's going to cost at least $10 million per year on a long-term deal, probably more than that. When you look at the contract that Jake Ferguson signed, for instance, with the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, he signed a big-time deal. So I think that is what Kyle Pitts and his representatives are looking at in terms of what his market value will be. He led the Falcons in receptions. So if you're thinking about that and along those terms, you got to look at somebody comparable. And Jake Ferguson just signed an extension, 4 years, $50 million with the Cowboys. So about $12.5 a year. I think that's where you need to be in that ballpark. You need to be in that neighborhood for Kyle Pitts. About $12.5 a year. Maybe 13 if there's a bidding war, depending upon who else might be bidding for his services. Me personally, I like him. He killed the Buccaneers obviously twice, but I'm going to take that 12.5 and put it towards somebody who can go get the quarterback, presumably. Now, there aren't a whole lot of options on the free agent front when it comes to edge rusher. Trey Hendrickson is the number one name on that list. He had some back issues. That would give me some cause for concern, to be quite honest with you. But that's the number one free agent edge rusher. Max Crosby is locked in for a couple more years. He has signed an extension. He's a little bit younger than Trey Hendrickson. I think it would make a heck of a lot more sense. Yes, you would have to give up draft pick and or player compensation in order to get him. But with John Spytek there, that's Jason Light's best friend practically. So, hey, how about you do me a solid? Now, we're not going to offer you pennies on the dollar. John Spytek has to do what's best for the Raiders organization or else he's going to get fired. And the Raiders have an itchy trigger finger when it comes to firing coaches and when it comes to, jettison, people in general. General managers, coaches, whatever. I saw somewhere since the year 2000, the Raiders have had the most head coaches in the NFL. I think they're about to hire their 18th head coach. 18. I think that was the number. 17 or 18 in now 25, 26 years. That's incredible. I mean, you want to talk about an organization that is not stable, that's them. That's the Raiders. That's the Jets. That's the Browns. Those are three organizations that you would be, really smart in staying away from those said organizations. And that's why, look, I had to ask John the question, and I think he knew it was coming about the Jets because that rumor was out there, and it was a rumor that was put out by a legitimate NFL reporter that works for a legitimate, accredited media outlet. So I had to lob it up there to John because I want to hear what John would say. But I think John wants to coach again, and I think there is going to be a criteria and a checklist of certain things that this employer, whether it's the Jets or anybody else, would certainly have to check off for him. Good owner, that's a must. A quarterback, yeah, that would help. And the Jets don't have that. And they haven't since, I don't know, Chad Pennington. Before that, an aging Vinny Testaverde. And then before that, Ken O'Brien. And then before that, Richard Todd. I don't know if he would count. But they haven't had like a true stud since Joe Namath. So I would feel that John didn't think that was an option worth pursuing. And look, you can't control, by the way, who reaches out to you. So it's very possible, and I know it's 100%. I'm believing that John didn't call the Jets, that the Jets maybe reached out to him. But he's not going to confirm or deny that, obviously. It wouldn't benefit John. It wouldn't benefit the Jets to kind of confirm that. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. So a lot of Buccaneer talk, a lot of NFL talk. Buccaneers have added a couple of new coaches. When we come back, we're going to tell you what that looks like. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, we're just a couple of days away from a spectacle unlike anything we have seen in the Tampa Bay area in our sports history. And we'll get into that next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
On this beautiful Let It Ride, no negativity Thursday, thanks to John Gruden. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something positive. That would be the Orlando Magic, one of the league's hottest teams, led by future All-Stars Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And this Sunday, February the 1st, the Magic are heading to the Lone Star State to take on the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama, who is a phenom, by the way. Coverage beginning at 4 p.m. You can cheer on the Orlando Magic from home on More TV, free over the air this Sunday at 4 o'clock. Coverage beginning then. More is your local Orlando Magic partner, so catch all the high-flying action. Magic against the Spurs Sunday on Digital 32.1 or on Spectrum and Frontier Cable Channel 12.
It's a no-negative Thursday.
The best Bucs coverage lives here. 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
WDAE. Traffic update.
From the Moss Nissan Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders.
19 northbound crash on Whitney Road, right lane blocked. Traffic back to Ulmerton Road. Minor crash on Myrtle Avenue at Druid Road. Looks to be some extra congestion southbound on Myrtle Avenue. Crash in Pasco County, Moon Lake Road. North and southbound traffic affected. This is between Ridge Road and Banbury at Carver Avenue. And just to the east on the Veterans Expressway, looking good from Ridge Road southbound all the way to the airport. Get traffic info around the clock by searching News Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Pat Largo.
Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Got the free iHeart app? Farrah and Farrah makes sending your comments lightning fast. Tap the red mic, hit send. Injured? Make it a Farrah fight. Call Farrah and Farrah now, Tampa.
If you care about predictions, you care about props. And for the upcoming big game, nobody does props like Bet Online. For years, Bet Online has been providing big game markets, sharp odds, and player props built for fans who see the game before it happens. From the opening kickoff to the final whistle, Bet Online delivers live in-game action, instant updates, and in-game props. Prediction markets follow the conversation. Bet Online defines it. Bet Online. The game starts here.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't miss your chance to win the one Grand Slam. Your shot at $1,000 every weekday by listening to 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. The one Grand Slam on Tampa Bay Sports Radio. Keep listening for your next chance to win.
Sponsored by Mark Spain Real Estate. Skip the hassle and sell your home stress-free with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Rivard Buick GMC, the number 2 GMC dealer in the country, would like to thank you, our valued customers, for making 2025 an incredible year. Determined to make this year even better, we're out to show our appreciation. We're coming out strong with massive discounts. Check this out. Up to $17,000 off a new Sierra 1500 and rates as low as 0%. Leave that old truck of yours behind. Start the year off right with the truck you've been dreaming of. RivardBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Men, if you're sick of taking a pill every time you want to perform, you're not alone. Pills don't fix erectile dysfunction. They just cover it up. And the side effects? Headaches, dizziness, the pressure to get the timing right. That's no way to live. At PG Men's Health, we offer acoustic wave therapy, a breakthrough treatment that restores blood flow and helps you get back natural function. No pills, no surgery, no downtime. This treatment is backed by Cambridge University research and trusted by thousands of men nationwide. Whether you're 35 or 105, it's helping real men get real results and real confidence. And today, Thursday, January 29th only, we're offering over $800 in services completely free to new callers. That includes your exam, consultation, blood flow, ultrasound, and even your first treatment, all free. But you must call now. This offer is only available today and appointments are limited. Call 877-755-MENS. That's 877-755-6367. Again, 877-755-MENS. Call now and get your life back with PG Men's Health.
Before it was vintage, it was a revolution. This is Smells Like the 90s. A decade that tore up the rulebook and defined a new world of alternative. Nirvana, Alanis, Pearl Jam, Weezer, No Doubt, and more. With commercial-free weekends. Your favorite era? Just a tap away. Open the free iHeartRadio app and listen now.
You know who's listening to the radio? Voters.
Lots of them. So if you're running for office, this right here, great place to reach them. And it's not like social media where people are just swiping through ads. With radio, they're engaged. Plus, it's 1/10 the time and cost of video. Don't just campaign. Connect with millions all over the country, even thousands in the smallest communities with radio. Call now and be on the air in just 48 hours. 844-844-iHeart. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisor. Visit TrajanWealth.com.
This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders.
Sunny skies this afternoon, high 67 degrees. Partly cloudy and cold tonight, low 43. Friday forecast, partly sunny, high 71, low 53. Get news, traffic, and weather around the clock when you set News Radio WFLA as a preset on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Amy Snyder.
Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
This hour brought to you by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Where the Bucs, Rays, and Bolts collide. This is The Drive with TKras on WDAE.
Yeah, I'm going. Have you ever seen an outdoor hockey game in Florida? How could I miss that? It's right down the street. I think we should have a standing room only. Our Lightning guys are playing their butts off, and I got to meet John Cooper for the first time. He came by my office a couple months ago, and once you get to meet Coach Cooper, you can't help but be a Lightning fan. So I'm going to be there.
He is going to be there. That's John Gruden. He was on with me earlier. He's going to be at the outdoor game Sunday. It'll be freezing cold. Perfect for the Lightning and the Bruins. Sunday, the outdoor game, 6:30. We had Ryan Pepio here in studio. He's going to be there along with a couple of his Rays buddies, Junior Caminero, Shane McClanahan, and the like. They're going to the game on Sunday. A lot of people going to the game. And if you're going to the game, and we'll be there as well.
I hope to see you and a lot of your friends down there.
John, we're going to be there. We're going to be all bundled up, too. I'm going to be wearing my beanie cap and my heavy coat and everything else. Now, before we get to Sunday, there's a game tonight. Lightning and the Winnipeg Jets over at I put $1 into the cup. Benchmark International Arena. I almost said the other arena name, formerly associated with. Benchmark International Arena tonight with the Lightning and the Winnipeg Jets. So we still got a game going on tonight. And look, a couple of things to watch for in terms of the game tonight for your Tampa Bay Lightning. Victor Hedman was out there with a no-contact jersey, skating around, kind of doing his thing. Nikita Kucherov, by the way, 1 goal away from passing former Lightning captain Vincent Lecavalier for second most goals in franchise history behind Martin St. Louis. So Kuch needs 1 more goal to pass Vinny to move second all-time by himself. So we'll keep an eye on that. Kucherov's having a big year. 80 points so far in 47 games, dude. That's incredible. He's off to a great start. Anthony Cirelli. He scored a power play goal the other night. By the way, over the last calendar month, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the number 1 power play in the NHL, they're converting over 36% of the time on the power play, and they have a top 3 penalty kill as well. So this is why the Lightning are doing what they're doing. Their special teams have been great. Andrei Vasilevsky was fantastic. A shutout the other night. He's at the top of his game, and they're doing all this without McDonough and without Hedman and Braden Point, and they'll get these guys back at some point. And don't forget, we got a couple of games to go, and then the NHL players will take off. The NHL will take a 1-month reprieve for the Olympics because the players are going off and playing in the Olympics, which obviously is going to be epic as well. So that's a story with your Tampa Bay Lightning. And look, they have to breathe a tremendous sigh of relief, the Lightning and the NHL, because the weather on Sunday is going to be perfect for hockey. Like if you're a fan, it's probably not going to be very pleasant because it's going to be freezing cold. High temperature on Sunday at Ray J, 46 degrees. Now, that's the high. I want to caution you that when they drop the puck at 6:30, the temperatures will be down into the 30s. So it's going to be really, really cold. So bundle up, baby. Let's go to our phones. A lot of you want to talk about the Buccaneers, the John Gruden interview, everything else in between. Elliot is in Tampa. Elliot, good afternoon. What say you?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Great. Just doing terrific.
Hey, great. Hey, just coming to you. Steve would be very proud. Very proud of you, sir.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Born in 75, born here, been through Ray Perkins, Lehman Bennett, been through all that, right? So, if we score 25 and give up 29, we're not going to win, right? So, how are we going to win if our defense can't hold the other team's offense?
They're not.
No, we're not. I mean, we're definitely not. So, I really don't know the words without being rude, but we have to have better players on the other side of the ball. Our offense is fine. Our scheme is fine on the offense. Maybe we got to play better, but if we score 22, 25 points a game, we should win.
Not with that defense, Elliot, and I appreciate the phone call very, very much, and thank you for the kind words. Look, the defense needs a big upgrade. There's no getting around it. And Jason Light knows that, and Todd Bowles knows that as well. They don't have the horses. And part of that is, an issue with things like giving Hassan Reddick $14 million. That didn't work. That was a disaster. And now they have to go out this offseason and plug that hole once more. And this team has had some difficulty drafting edge rushers. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Chris Braswell. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, we can find free agents. We can trade for guys, and Jason Light has done that. Shaq Barrett, he picked them up at the dollar store. And that turned out to be a great acquisition. Led the NFL in sacks at 19.5, helped this team win a Super Bowl. Jason Pierre-Paul was a great trade by Jason Light. But this team has had trouble finding those guys in the draft. Scott Reynolds, by the way, we'll talk to him at 6 o'clock. He's up at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, where there's a few edge rushers that are turning some heads up there. And some guys at the Buccaneers will have a close eye on. So we'll talk to Scott Reynolds about that and all things Buccaneers coming up at 6 o'clock. And for those who missed my talk with John Gruden, John joined me right at the top at 3 o'clock. Spread the word if you're just getting out of work or school, 5:05. We'll replay the interview with John Gruden. Trust me.
I love living in Tampa, Florida.
I love it too, John. That's why we're here. So he talked. I thought that was interesting because I asked him about, his desire to be a coach, and he's been, making no secret about that he would love to be a coach at some point, but he also says he loves living in Tampa, Florida. So that would lead me to believe that if a job or something were to present itself to John, that John would prefer to be in a warm weather type of environment. That's how I'm perceiving that comment. I don't know. But you don't get a third shot at it unless you're really good. Like Mike McCarthy just got a job. And I think Mike McCarthy's the same age as John. I think he's 62. So McCarthy is the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think if McCarthy can get another run at it, I think there's a chance that John could get that run as well. Now, I'm very aware of the lawsuit, and we've been talking about it, and, I can't ask John about it because he's not going to comment on it. But that could be an obstacle between John and maybe some owners having more interest in John because of the lawsuit that he has still got going on. It's still pending against the NFL and Roger Goodell. And I do believe it would behoove both parties, both the NFL and John, to get that done ASAP. And they will. They'll come to a conclusion. There'll be a settlement, and they're going to pay John off. They have no choice in doing so. And John has achieved a couple of victories in circuit courts in the last year or so. So he has got more traction, I think, going in his favor. And the NFL does not want this thing to drag out because it would not be great for them PR-wise as well. And it's not going to happen next week leading up to the Super Bowl. There's nothing that the NFL wants to do over the next week that will take anything away from the Super Bowl. Let's be really clear about that. So I think we're still a few weeks away, if not longer, from, a resolution to that lawsuit between John and the NFL. But I do believe that it would benefit both parties to settle. Just settle. John got railroaded. The NFL, I think, knows that. John absolutely knows that. Pay him off and let John, continue to live his life here in beautiful Tampa Bay, you know what I mean? And maybe that could open the way, and I believe it will open the way for owners, and that will clear the path for owners in the future to consider John for any head coaching vacancies, which I do believe will happen. Back to the phones. Reggie's in Riverview. Reggie, what's up there, you big old pimp?
What's happening, you big old pimp? Listen, TKras, I pray you're well, man, and you're in the family. And you know what, TKras? If someone listen, I was raised to be a good man. I've had a good life, and I've had two siblings who have a good life. But you know what? If someone could, see my life in detail, there were some things I'm not proud of. John Gruden, I guarantee you, he's like a lot of the coaches in this NFL that didn't do things above board. But this is ridiculous. TKras, it's ridiculous, okay? All right, that's the first thing. The other thing I want to talk about, man, is, bruh, I got to breathe a little bit because I was just telling my man when he took my call about my wife having pancreatic cancer. Man, life is so short, and last time I talked to you, I told you about this.
Yeah, you did.
Life is so short, man. We cannot take things so to heart where we don't understand that, man. Live this life, enjoy this life, and keep moving, bruh. My Hurricanes. Now, I was proud because I won money because they covered the spread. I won money.
Good for you.
I won some money, but Mendoza, I think he is Brady-like. I do. I think he's Brady-like. And then here's my last thing, man. I think the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Listen, bro, I got mad love. I got mad love for you, man. Thank you so much for all the things that you do to bring light to this community, man. Love you, bro.
Thank you, Reggie. My best to you and your wife. I love you, man. And don't be a stranger, Reggie in Riverview. One of the great callers and listeners, guy who very passionate about his sports, very passionate about life, very passionate about his family. And we could all certainly relate to that. Love that guy. And I agree with everything you said. I don't know if I would put Mendoza in the Brady conversation, but he's impressive, man. The way he goes about his business. In the first half of that game against Reggie's Canes, he got knocked around a little bit. Bain and Mesidor, they were coming off the edge, and they were putting pressure, and they were hitting him a couple of times, but he bounced right back. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get intimidated. He continues to move forward. He processes things very easily, very quickly. The Raiders would be nuts not to pick him. And I know we were talking, I think Ryan Pepio, right? We were talking with him yesterday, and, he made a good point. Like, the Raiders have to, put a lot of pieces around him so the quarterback doesn't fail. But if you have the number one pick, which the Raiders do, and he's there, it's a no-brainer. You're taking him. And between now and the draft, you have free agency. If you're the Raiders, You're loading up on offensive linemen. You're getting him at least a couple of receivers. You've got Ashton Genty. You've got Brock Bowers, so that's a great start there, too. Well, you absolutely have to give this kid an opportunity to succeed. As we've seen in recent years, it matters where you go, who the owner is, who the coach is, what is your supporting cast like offensively and defensively, too. Can you play complementary football to avoid that quarterback from going out and playing hero ball? And I think Baker,
how are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis. So I wasn't thinking of Jameis. I was actually thinking of Baker Mayfield because he knew the defense was absolutely crumbling second half of the season. And I think Baker's health had a lot to do with it, but he felt like he had to go out there and maybe do a little too much, force that ball into coverage. And as a result, he threw some costly interceptions. But I still believe in Baker, and I believe, and I talked about this the other day, that you put the proper talent around him. I think Baker, like a Sam Darnold, I think those two guys are similar, like a Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield can lead this team to a Super Bowl, provided that you back him up. You have the supporting cast and the coaching. Now, a lot of you are going to question whether Todd Bowles is that coach to get him there. I do have some doubts on that front. But I think with Zach Robinson and the offensive talent around him, they could do some damage. All right, Dale and Brian, hold on. You guys will be up first when we come back. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. More news out of the NFL. Josh Grizzard's name is in the news. And you're not going to believe where he might end up next. That is coming up next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
If you're just getting in your car, great to have you with us. You're leaving work, you're leaving school. Don't forget, John Gruden is coming up at 5:05. In case you missed that from earlier in the show, he led off the show, and he was awesome. So you might want to stick around for that. And be careful out there on the roadways. Injury accidents can happen to anyone at any time. And when it happens to you, you got to call on my guys over at Catania & Catania, the injury law firm that's been doing their thing for the last 3 decades here in Tampa Bay. They don't get paid unless you get paid. I got involved in an injury accident. I called them, and they were great, and they were compassionate, and they worked with me, and they said, look, here's what's going on, and they kept me abreast of what was going on with the legal proceedings. And at the end of the day, we achieved the best possible outcome thanks to my guys over at Catania & Catania. So I'm grateful of them. They watch my back. They'll be in your corner as well. So get a free evaluation of your case right now. Tell them I sent you at 813-222-8545 or online, CataniaandCatania.com, where they put families first. Office Tampa, 930 spokesman.
95.3 WDAE and AM 620, Tampa Bay's home